You're doing something special on you. On your Sunday. Because they have a whole bunch of things in them.
Exciting stuff in our world.
No, yeah.
What else would?
Okay. Great. All right. All right. This is your 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. It's too early to actually start. It's like actually 7:30, so that would be terrible. You know. What am I doing? Okay. This is good. That's on.
Oh, it's so nice. Even the Celtics couldn't keep you away.
That's right.
I had no idea the Celtics were playing or that it's season. I'm so.
I know, I'm with you.
If they lose, I don't want to see it. If they win, you don't play again. And then,
There you go.
All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I'm so glad to see you here. It's such a beautiful day. It's a beautiful evening. So it's beautiful to be together. Thank you all so much. I'm going to invite us to take a couple deep breaths before we start. So, do a little shoulder roll. Just let your body kind of start relaxing. And our goal is to really bring ourselves into a different space, into a space of Shabbat, of rest. So we're going to breathe in the relaxation and the ideals that we have for how we can spend this time together. And we're going to breathe out all of the stresses of the week, all the things that are waiting to get done on your to-do list. They'll be there later. We don't have to worry about it right now. And to just center ourselves and to find a place of gratitude that we're able to be here tonight, that we're able to still be living our lives, and that we can do it in relative safety for this community. And understanding that many people in our country are not feeling that way right now. And we hold that as well. So we're going to open up to page 120 as we begin Shabbat by lighting our candles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. We turn to page 124. We'll read together at the top. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Let's, on 128, you have the words for Hine Matov. Let's sing together how good and how pleasant it is that we are all able to be dwelling here. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. So as we turn to page 138 for Lachadrdi, I will mention now it is Lag BaOmer. You might have no idea what that means because it is not a very well-known holiday here in the States. In Israel, it is a big holiday because you get to light bonfires and it's pretty cool. Lag BaOmer is the middle. This is a 33rd day of the counting of the Omer, which again, you probably still don't know what I'm talking about. The second night of Passover begins basically a countdown. The second night of Passover is exactly 50 days away from our next major holiday of Shavuot. And why these are being counted is because Passover represents the moment of Exodus, when the people finally left Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, and were beginning their journey in the desert. And Shavuot is the moment that we come to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. And we were wandering, we were hanging out in the desert for about 50 days there. And so it became a Kabbalistic mysticism kind of based idea that we count these days in between, and that each day and each week has a particular midah, which in English is like, how would you say midah in English? Like a particular energy or a particular like mental state. So
I think they call that a vibe.
yeah, great. A very particular vibe. Yes, you're. Thank you. No, that's exactly correct. And so I'll email me if you want, or just Google like Omer counter, and you'll find really cool, colorful pictures and delineations of how this all works together. But we are in the exact middle, which means that we are in the day and the week of Hod, which is both splendor and humility. So we're getting like a double portion of that experience or that vibe today. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well. And today has a few historical moments that are attached to it. And my Devar is going to be a bit of a storytelling evening tonight. But I just wanted to say, we really don't learn or feel the presence of the Hasidic influence that much in mainstream American Judaism, except for the places that it's become totally part of our lives, like Tu B'Shvat, right? Tu B'Shvat was really a mystical tradition. The birthday of the trees, having a whole Seder, having these representations that came out of the mystical world. It came out of the Hasidic kind of Eastern European theological world. Same thing with Lag BaOmer, it came from that world as well. And same thing as Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, the blessing we're about to say on page 138, was famously written in Sfat by a bunch of Kabbalists who had moved there. They were one of the few Jewish communities that were still living in these holy parts of the land. And they would go out and they would greet the Sabbath bride. They would be all dressed in white. They would go out onto the cliffs and they would see the beautiful sunset and they would sing this prayer welcoming their Sabbath bride because it is a partnership. Right? They envision the Jewish people and God as a betrothed couple that can only meet for these brief 24-hour periods each week and then have to separate out. It's like the worst long distance relationship you could imagine. And there's no cell phones. So I just think it's so important that we note where these traditions are coming from within the wide world of Jewry, and to realize like we are truly a mixing pot of all of the traditions throughout the last 4,000 years. We are so lucky and blessed that we have inherited such a rich and diverse world of what Judaism can be, and to just say like you never know what you don't know, and there's so much in our history and in our heritage that is still finding ways to surprise and delight us even now. So on page 138 we'll sing Lecha Dodi. We'll do the first stanza and then the last stanza, and I'll invite everyone to rise and face the doorway to greet the Sabbath bride before our last stanza. So stay seated now. I'll tell you when to rise. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'tila. Lecha Dodi likra kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likra kala. Please rise. Pene Shabbat Nekabela. Final stanza. Boi Beshalom Ateret Bala. Gam Besimcha Usochola. Toch Emune Am Segula. Boi Kala. Leha Dodi Lekrakala. Pene Shabbat Nekabela. Leha Dodi Lekrakala. Pene Shabbat Nekabela. You may be seated. Let's turn to page 140 and sing Tov Lehodot. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak and your faithfulness each night. Before we sing this, I want to invite you to think, when we talk about Adonai, to sing praises to God, what is it that you are imagining as God? We use these words, but we very, very often forget to unpack them or to realize that what this word means to each person is drastically different. And that's correct, right? The word God in particular can be a little rough because it has come to us through a predominantly Christian English lens. And it doesn't really allow for the diversity that Hebrew tends to. In Judaism, we say that we have 70 different names or faces of God, and that's really kind of the minimum names that you can count. You could probably create a lot more. And because we have all of those opportunities to think of God in different ways, we're able to choose names that work for where we are and what we need in this moment. Because our relationship with the divine is ever changing. Our relationship with ourselves is ever changing. And we need different things in different parts of our lives. And the beauty is that God, the divine, the spiritual energy that connects all of us, all of this is available. And you can explore what within that framework you need to bring into your lives. So we're about to sing Tov Lechodot, and then we're going to continue on with our whole service. And during the whole time, I want to invite you to really think about, what piece of the divine are you calling out to tonight? Who or what are you praying towards tonight? And to just keep that with you for the rest of the service. So we will start with the third line, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4 lines from there. Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov lehodot ladonai. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lechodot Adonai. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Ve'emunatcha ba'leilot. Ve'emunatcha ba'leilot. Tov lechodot ladonai. Tov lechodot ladonai. Tov lechodot ladonai. Ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov lechodot ladonai. Lehagid להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. Let's turn to page 146 and rise for the Baruch Hu, our invitation now that we have warmed up to fully enter into a space of prayer and community. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated. On page 149, we read together at the top, praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Al Ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokvenu U'kumenu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla negei yomam v'layla ve'achavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 152, the Shema, a reminder that not only are we declaring Adonai Echad, that God is one, but that we are all part of that oneness, that all living beings and creatures share this earth and are part of our one project of sustaining our lives and the life that we have come from, the life that gives us life, which is, of course, our earth, our planet. And we pray that we have the wisdom to be good stewards, not just to our world, but to each other. And if we can do that, then truly we are being good stewards of Adonai Echad. So I invite you to close your eyes and take another deep breath. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol lebavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim L'chiot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. I want to just say one thing about V'ahavta. I don't know, William, if I've given you this spiel yet, or Dennis have, but V'ahavta comes directly out of Torah. And if you note that when you're looking at this text, if you're looking very closely at the words, you'll see that there's like random markings that aren't generally in other prayers, because those are the Torah trope marks. And interesting and unique thing about Reform Judaism in this country is that we sing the trope for V'ahavta. Many other communities sing more of like a melody of it, but this is how I learned it, and I'm really strict about it. We're singing the exact correct trope, just like you would if you were reading it out of the Torah for high holidays. So for anybody who is thinking about having a B'nai Mitzvah in their lives, doesn't matter if you're younger or older, you have just learned or you have just chanted Torah trope, which means you will be just fine at your B'nai Mitzvah. It's another secret way of saying that starting next year, we're going to start a beginner, adult, or whoever would like to Hebrew class. We're going to start learning Hebrew. And the hope is that eventually we'll transition into another adult B'nai Mitzvah group. I think we have a few new people since the last time we had a cohort here. So I'm looking forward to that. So you're already experts right here. So very good. Let's turn to page 157 and we'll read at the top together in English. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158. Mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamo haner arba kodesh, nora tehilot osei fela, nora tehilot osei fela. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, vokei hayam ifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeli anu v'yamru, zeli anu v'yamru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki v'da Adonai et Yaakov, v'galo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 161. We'll read the second reading in English together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 162, we come to Vishamru, which we will sing together. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. As we turn to page 164 for the Amidah, I invite you to rise as you're able. We will sing the opening meditation together, and then we'll continue in silent prayer. You're invited to read the words that are in the book or the words that are in your heart. When you are finished with your prayers, you may be seated. Adonai tzevatai tiftach ufi hagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru. Imru amen. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael. Okay, so mentioned, it is Lag BaOmer. Not a creative title. Lag is just Lamed Gimel, which is 33. It's the 33rd day. We're really not creative namers over here. But it is the midpoint of our journey. And it honors two very particular early rabbis, Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Akiva, you might know, these are two of the most well-known, prominent early Talmudic and Mishnaic rabbis. And Shimon Bar Yochai is often seen as the founder of the Jewish mystical movement. It is proclaimed that he wrote the Zohar, the book of Jewish mysticism, during the story that I'm about to tell you. But he did not. It was written many, many centuries later. But he's the I'm just telling it how it is. But no, yeah, he is the spiritual author of the Zohar. We'll go with that. So I wanted just to tell you a little bit about the two of them and their journeys, which are dynamic and complex. So we're going to start with Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is also known as kind of the love rabbi. He lobbied successfully to canonize the Song of Songs, the book that is really a pretty straightforward love poem between two human beings. But he said that it was actually a love story between the people of Israel and God. Right? So it's the same kind of ideology as Lecha Dodi, the idea that we, the people of Israel, have a relationship with the divine in a somewhat romantic, fairly straightforward romantic. We're calling it the Sabbath bride. So Rabbi Akiva, that was really his place, right? He saw beauty and love in so many things in this world, even when it was the harshest of times. So it is said that a plague befell the students of Rabbi Akiva, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And the plague began after Passover, and then miraculously it ended, and everybody recovered on the 33rd day of the Omer. So it was declared a holiday to celebrate. So that's kind of Lag BaOmer number one. Secondly, it was said to be the death of Shimon Bar Yochai on this day. And normally you would think when someone dies, it's a memorial day, it's a sad day. But Shimon Bar Yochai, again, a mystic, told his students not to be sad, but to celebrate because he is about to reunite with the divine, right? He's moving as close as you can to be with God, and that is a reason for celebration. So that's who these two people are. Rabbi Akiva was Shimon Bar Yochai's student. Other way around, teacher. And Rabbi Akiva, again, was very well known. And he and everybody is operating under Roman occupation. Rabbi Akiva believed dramatically, seriously believed, that he had found the Messiah. That there was someone in Israel. This is about 138 of the Common Era. So the temple has already been destroyed. A massive amount of Jews have been exiled from Jerusalem. Most of the activity is happening in the town of Yavna in the north of Jerusalem. And the question, and Judaism is slowly but surely being outlawed. You're not allowed to teach in public. You're not allowed to ordain new rabbis. These are kind of the general realities that they're going through. And Rabbi Akiva, though, he finds this guy, Bar Kokhba, and he really believes that this is the Messiah, right? We're under so much horror from the Roman Empire. It must be the birth pangs of the Messiah. This is going to be really a repeated idea throughout our history, right? When things get really, really bad, perhaps these are the horrible birthing pains that you need to go through before we are able to move into the Messianic age. Hasn't happened yet, but we'll see. So Rabbi Akiva supports Bar Kokhba, and they wage a revolt against Rome, and Bar Kokhba dies in battle. And for us, that's kind of, we were wrong. That's the sign that we did not get it right. If he was truly the Messiah, he would have won, right? God would have been on our side. We would have won. A new age would have happened, but that didn't happen. So Rabbi Akiva, once Bar Kokhba died, he basically told everybody to lay down their arms. We're not going to win. And he was arrested, and he was taken to Rome, to the Colosseum. And this is a story that sometimes you tell on more dark holidays. But he was skinned alive in front of everybody, including his students who had come to be with him. And Shimon Bar Yochai was one of his students. There's a story that he's going through this horrible process, and he has a smile on his face, and his students are really in the front row, and they're crying and they're mourning, and they're just totally, you can't even imagine. And they cry out, Rabbi Akiva, like, why are you smiling? What's going on? And Rabbi Akiva says, I've never fully understood the first line of V'ahavta. I never really understood what it meant to love God with your body, your mind, and your soul. But now I realize I am being allowed to give my soul for my love of God. And he started to say the Shema. It was the time to say Shema. Sun was rising. And as he finished, his soul left his body. And that was the death of Rabbi Akiva. Again, totally witnessed by his students, including Shimon Bar Yochai. So his students go back to where they were in deep mourning, and obviously going to be affected by that experience for the rest of their lives. And Hadrian comes into power, and he really enacts even stricter rules on the Jews. And a few rabbis kind of got together to figure out, what are we supposed to do with this new Roman administration? One rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan, says we should probably try and be friendly with them. Rabbi Yossi says we should just wait and see. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, maybe we should just wait and see and be neutral for now. But Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, no, we have to fight. These are, this is an evil empire. We can't rest. Like, we have to. These are our enemies. Very, very intensely. Again, probably deeply informed by having witnessed the Romans are the ones who did this horrible thing to his teacher. So I kind of understand his intense anger against Rome. Unfortunately, this conversation was overheard by another person who ran to the authorities and reported on them, and reported what Shimon Bar Yochai said. Not good. So Roman authorities said that Shimon Bar Yochai should be killed for what he has said. So he gets word that they're looking for him, and he and his son flee. And they eventually find their way into a cave, and they stay in that cave for 12 years. A carob tree sprouts up overnight to give them food. A river diverts its way to give them water. It's said that they dug holes for themselves, and they took off their clothes and buried themselves in dirt. And that was how they spent most of their time. Then they would, for Shabbat, they would get out and they would put on their clothes. This would allow their one pair of clothes to be Shabbat ready for 12 years. This story is okay. This probably didn't happen exactly this way. And the story goes that after all these years, they get word, or God kind of sends a little messenger that says the people who Hadrian had died. The death warrant against you is kind of less intense now. It's safe for you to come out. And so they come out of the cave after all this time, and it's Shabbat, and they see somebody carrying bundles on Shabbat, and they're enraged because you're not supposed to carry anything on Shabbos. And different versions, but one version is, and fire comes out of Rabbi Shimon's eyes and burns everything in his sight, because he's so upset that the Jewish people have lost their dedication to the mitzvot, to carrying out the commandments. Anyway, a voice from God, a voice from heaven comes down. He's like, "What the hell are you doing? You can't do that. You need to go back in the cave and do some thinking." So they go back in the cave for a few more years. They do some contemplation. And they reemerge, but yet again they see a person who's carrying these bundles, but instead of lighting everything on fire, Rabbi Shimon goes to him and says, "Sir, what are you doing? Why are you carrying these bundles on Shabbat?" And the man says, "Oh, it's to keep my house fragrant for Shabbat, so we have a good smelling." Rabbi Shimon says, "Well, you could do that with one bundle. Why do you have two?" He said, "Well, because you have to keep and remember Shabbat, right?" I don't know if you know, but we have two versions of the Ten Commandments in our Torah, one in Exodus and one in Deuteronomy. They're almost the same, except some small differences. And one of those differences is that in one version it says to keep Shabbat, and in the other version it says to remember Shabbat. And so one of the reasons we have two candles and two halot is because we have these two commandments to keep and remember the Sabbath. And so Rabbi Shimon realizes, "Oh, I'm so happy. I just learned something. Like, I didn't even know that commandment." He had been gone for, like, at this point, 19 years. He hadn't heard the drash that you should do two bundles and two candles. So he says, "Oh my God, thank goodness. The Jewish people are still committed to the mitzvot, to the commandments. We're going to be okay." And they leave the cave successfully and safely, and continue on. And he becomes one of the most important figures in our writings, both in the Talmud and then eventually as the theoretical author of the Zohar. So one of the things I love is our crazy stories. They're very interesting, and when we read Midrash, you're like, "Wow, this is some weird stuff," but it's great. It makes it really interesting, and that our hero, right, the people that we love and admire, are totally human. They are deeply, deeply flawed human beings. There is nobody in our tradition that is perfect. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be human, kind of what we expect from each other these days. And I've been very concerned that there seems to be this idea in our world that we should be more than human, right? We should be perfect. We should agree with all the right things and disagree with all the wrong things, that we should know for sure, right, what is right and what is wrong. There seems to be this endemic of clarity where people are telling us they know for sure how to deal with this situation. They are the only ones who are going to save us in this situation. You just listen to me and do everything I say and we'll be fine. I promise you. That is so deeply unhuman. One of the midot, one of the vibes of Hod, of this day, is humility. And it's paired with splendor. You can only see the beauty and incredible, awe-inspiring parts of our world if you are able to put yourself not as the main character, right? You need to be able to step outside and aside and realize, I really don't know everything. And that's correct. It's not just okay, it's actually correct. We cannot know everything. We have to do our best to consider all the information available to us at any given time, to think about what our values are, to try and understand what the consequences will be, and then to make a decision, all the while keeping in mind that we might be wrong. We might be wrong. And to leave open that possibility. Because it's only when we are able to see other opportunities or other options in front of us that we didn't realize that you can have that moment of awe, right? You're not normally so impressed with something that you come up with. Like, I mean, maybe you are, but it's a little unusual, right? If it's something that we're thinking up ourselves, it's part of us, it's part of our thinking. It's not such a shock. But I hope that we have all had that moment where we're listening to someone or we're watching a talk or we're reading a poem and something hits us that we never thought about before, that never coalesced in our minds before. And it allows us to see the world in a different way. It opens our minds to new opportunities and ideas that can only come from outside of yourself. And if you don't give other people time or space in your world, you're not going to experience that. Rabbi Shimon had to learn that, right? He came out of the cave that first time and thought that he knew everything and he knew what was happening was wrong. And, everything burst into flames. It wasn't until his second coming out that he realized he might have misjudged that poor guy before. Perhaps he was doing something that Rabbi Shimon just didn't understand. He had to learn that he's not always right. So I am praying every day that I and that all of us have the ability to be humble, to understand that we are not supposed to have all the answers, and that is how human beings work. We are not angels. We do not see the future. We do not know only the good and the bad. Right? We are humans. We have to be human. And we can only do that if we are honest with ourselves and if we accept our own failings and our own blind spots. And so I hope that we can all take this Shabbat to have a moment of real self-reflection and think, is there something in my life that I might have judged too quickly, or perhaps I'm not giving space to? Is there someone in my life that perhaps I've been shutting down too quickly and that I want to actually engage it with? Is there something in my orbit that if I allow it in could change my life? So for the rest of the Omer, I invite you to take on that practice and to see what is in this world that you might be missing that you can take advantage of. So, Shabbat Shalom. Let's turn to page 371. For Misha Berach, if you or someone you love is in need of healing, be it healing of mind or of body or of strength, I invite you to say those names out loud or in your heart as my eyes go around the room.
Rabbi Peter and Rabbi David.
We think of all of those. We think of all of those in need of healing, and we send our thoughts and our prayers towards them. We sing together in the middle of 371. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We turn to page 586 for Elenu, and I invite you to rise as you are able. We start with the second paragraph on the page, second Elenu paragraph on the page. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kikoye ha'avatzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gov aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu kovim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Top of 588. Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'Yosei Haaretz U'Moshe V'Yakaro Hashamayim Ima'al U'Shchinatu Zo B'Gov Hei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato Kagatu B'Torato V'Yadata Hayam V'Hashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim V'Shamayim Mima'al V'Al Ha'aretz Mitachat Einod, middle of 591. V'ne'emar, v'chaya Adonai, l'melech kol ha'aretz. Yom haku, v'yom haku, yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad. Stay where you are as you turn to page 598. Well, you can be seated for a minute. I don't know. Okay, take a seat take a seat for 2 whole minutes, and then I'll. As we turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish, we think about all of those who have passed this time in previous years or recently. In our community, we are thinking of Sylvia Weiss Glynn, Gertrude P. Young, Joseph Schindler, Sylvia Pan, Louis Gotti, Maya H. Rovner, Simon Klein, Jacob Burstone, Errol D. Goldblyth, William Govner, Anita Shore, Max Rosenzweig, William Cohen. If you're in a period of mourning or observing a yard sites, I invite you to say those names out loud or in your heart.
Martin Diesenhoff.
We think of all of those who have died in disasters, both natural and man-made. We think of all of those who have died in Israel and in Gaza. We think of those who died in the Shoah, and we think of all of those who have no one left to say Kaddish for them. I invite you to rise as you're able. We say Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shmei Dekudsha Berechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May peace be sent to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved. You may be seated except for Yael, who is going to come up for some announcements.
I saw that you had the two bulletins up here, but I have some.
Oh, good, because I do not. Yeah, the bulletins have not come no, I printed out the last page.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I just have a couple of quick announcements here. First of all, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Anybody new tonight? You want to say hi? Hello, welcome. Hi. Hello, welcome. If you have a new face, I'm going to encourage you, go be obnoxiously friendly. Those of us who live here and come all the time, introduce yourself to at least one person you haven't met yet. That's the rule. Just a couple of announcements here. The annual meeting is coming up June 8th.
Yes.
June 8th. That's soon.
Yes.
4 to 6 p.m. Also, raise your hands if you have filled out the member survey. Raise your hands if you haven't so we can boo you and shame you publicly. Boo! Members, don't forget to fill out the member survey. It is really important as we make decisions going forward as a governing board. We want to make sure that everyone's views are reflected in that. So I think...
Sunday at 1. Sunday at 1 is the last rise and fall of American Jewish Gangster. If you haven't seen the first two, they're in Hillary put the link to both of the sessions. So come at 1 o'clock.
Oh, and I think there's an event for families with young children.
May 31st.
May 31st.
Yes, at Temple Emmanuel in Wakefield, because they have a beautiful outdoor space. We're going to have Ezekiel's Wheels klezmer band back again, a bouncy house, some base painting. So it is definitely geared towards younger folks, but everybody is welcome.
Yeah. Anything happening over the summer that people should be thinking about before they depart?
Well, we have all.
No, we still have stuff going on. Just,
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
The sisterhood is putting on a folk dance from 6 on Sunday.
Yes.
Everybody is welcome. You do not have to be a sisterhood member.
My mother is so excited to attend this. My mother, I forwarded to her. She said, "Who knows the Alexander method?" I don't know what you're referencing, but it was in the email.
so anyway, that's happening too.
My mom will be there with bells on.
Oh, my mom, Adrian. I'll see if she's there. Anything else?
I'm doing a 3-part session on anti-Semitism in June. Check the bulletin.
Before we go, I know everyone wants to go do Kiddush, but I just want to ask Rabbi Jessica one more question about Lag BaOmer.
Okay.
The sheaves of wheat.
Okay.
Can you explain the sheaves of wheat?
Yeah, that's actually the least confusing part of this whole thing. So all of our holidays are actually harvest holiday. Our major holidays are harvest holidays, and so I'm pretty sure Shavuot is when you thresh the wheat. So I think the sheaves of wheat are like
Harvest?
Yeah, harvest. You cut it down, like you're reaping it, right? With like a curvy. You think I know what these things are? I had to learn all of this in Hebrew. I have no idea what any of it. They tried to explain farming to us, and it really went right over my head. But yeah, there's some curved thing. They cut down the wheat. Yeah. Scythe. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they have machines now. But I will say, the bonfires are, again, celebration. I'm not really sure where the fire came from. I guess fire is like Torah.
Every day of the Omer, we count. It is 1 day and 12 sheaves of the Omer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because you're counting up to when you can harvest the whole thing. And I think that it was symbolic. Yeah. Oh, you're right. The threshing floor. That's where you. Oh, I don't know what this is. Right. Yes, that's threshing. Okay, so reaping. Okay. No. Thank you. Okay. I can do a little bit more homework and get you more deliberate how to harvest wheat like the Israelites did. It is definitely not my strong point. And the bow and arrow thing also, there's no good reason. Lag BaOmer, like it's a big thing that kids play with bows and arrows. Okay. And the only reason I found was because there's something that says that during Shimon Bar Yochai's life there was never a rainbow, and so although that seems like the opposite to me, and so like the bow and arrow is like because we're so glad that the rainbow is back because that's a sign that God's not going to destroy us again. I think it's a very, very stretch. Yeah, I don't think that's right. So I don't know where half these traditions came from. The Kabbalists were probably a little, they were engaging in some other things, I'm sure. But what do I know? I enjoy what they have given us, and I don't always understand how we got there. But that's life. That's just how it goes. All right, let's do a say shalom to close us out. We need as much blessings for peace as we can get these days. So a different version. Oh, say that's different, right? Oh, okay, great. Oh, say shalom ben romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oh, say shalom ben romav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. May we all be bringers of peace both to ourselves and to each other. And Shabbat Shalom, everybody. A huge thank you to our Oneg families, to the Chens, and Sharon. I think you are on the committee on the group as well. So thank you guys so much for helping us celebrate our Shabbos. All right, come on over. Let's do it.